Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mike Malik here with the winter weather update for December 5th, 2020, recorded around 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be talking today mainly about the winter weather event ongoing across portions of the northeastern United States, mainly across portions of Boston, New York, and up even in towards Maine in through the next couple of hours and in through tomorrow. So the synoptic setup so far, we have a developing area of low pressure undergoing extreme cyclogenesis right now, really out across the North Atlantic. This is roughly following right along that Gulf Stream. So you have a very intense mid-latitude cyclone that's developing. This is not in any way connected to any tropical development. I want to make that very clear, but this is mid latitude energy, and this will be moving off towards the north and east over the next several days. And we can see that right now, the minimum estimated pressure right now, according to surface data, is roughly about 990 millibars. And this is suggesting a fairly robust area for snow to develop here on the back side. But on the front side of this, you could have a fairly substantial severe weather event out across in the warm sector out here. But of course, that is away from land. So that's good news. But on the back side of this, you're going to get a lot of crushing snow. You can see the wind coming directly from the north. So this is going to allow a lot of that cooler air to rush straight in behind it. And if we actually look here on the radar, we can actually see some of that transition already beginning. You have a mixed precipitation phase right now, really across the south, and we'll try to highlight this in better color. So this is the Boston radar out across here, and you can see this is mainly all mixed precipitation. Then you get into heavy rain across the Boston metro. If you go north of Boston by only a couple of miles, you'll start to get into the transition zone, and then eventually into an all snow mix out across, north there of Worcester, closer then towards Fitchburg and Gardner, Townsend and Greensville up there. Now you're starting to get into Vermont, etc. We can see some of these snowfall totals have already been over 3 inches. There is a 3.9, so almost 4 inches of rain coming from a ham radio operator, so very reliable. All these are from ham radios. So you're getting mostly snow in this region, and then out across portions closer to Boston, you're getting a mix near Putnam, and then all rain across the Boston metro. Now, this will change over to all snow. This area will fill in to be all snow later today. Now, the actual area of low pressure, if we actually switch this precipitation typing off, you can see that the actual area of low pressure is confined well south of here. It's actually right across here. Now, if I turn this precipitation back on, you can see that the main low is going to be skirting off like this. So that means there's going to be a lot of snow coming down on the backside over the next several days. Now, if we look here, and we can kind of look at some of this, but the surface wet bulb temperature, you'll notice that a lot of this here, especially across the Boston metro, is still around 36 to 40 degrees. So you're not really going to be seeing a lot of snow there, but where you probably will see that transition of snow is closer up in towards the mountainous regions, where the surface wet bulb temperature is right around 34. And we can also see here that the temperature and dew point here, you'll definitely notice that the dew point is closest and is maximized here, closest towards this area of low pressure. So you're definitely going to have a fairly substantial gradient there. And as you're looking at the satellite, we can see that back here we have kind of this clear, kind of cold core convective area. And then we also have the warm core characteristics out across here. This is kind of a squall line here. The area of low pressure is kind of enveloped in here, all moving towards the north and east. So even all the way up until Maine today, it's a very cloudy day, and this onshore flow is going to promote some heavy rain across here and then eventually transition into all snow later in towards the week. So if we look here at the GFS forecast, this is by 18 Zulu time today, so 1 p.m. coming up in the next hour. We can see where the heaviest rain and snow is going to be for the next several hours, mainly confined north and around Boston is going to be where your heavy snowfall is. And again, this is mainly in response because what we have is the warm sector is right in through here. This is kind of the open warm sector. And if we actually kind of look here at the 850 millibar temperature, what we can actually see is that up there at about 5,000 feet, this is where the low is here, valid as of 18 Zulu. And you'll notice that all of these shadings here, the shadings here indicate at least temperatures of about 5 degrees Celsius. So this is roughly at about 35-ish, 35-ish degrees Fahrenheit. So you're not going to be getting a lot of snow initially. However, what you'll notice is that this area of low pressure moves north. The cold air now, because this area of low pressure is sitting here, you're getting a lot of cold air, transpiration all the way down here and transportation all the way down here across portions of the Northeast. And what this will do is that this will promote a transition to an all snow event. And if we actually look here at the precipitation type, we can see that this begins to transition to mainly all snow, kind of a mix of rain and snow, and then eventually transitions to all snow as this area of low pressure begins to move northward. Now, if we look here on the high resolution HRRR model, this is the high resolution HRRR valid as of 11 a.m. today. So we'll kind of move this forward for 1 p.m. This is 18 Zulu time. And what you'll notice here is, again, we have the open warm sector out across this region. This is the open warm sector. You could get a couple of severe storms out across the open waters here, but not really any threat besides marine interest. However, you'll notice on the back side of this is where you're going to be getting the coolest air that's going to be funneling in. And if we can actually look here at the 2-meter temperature, what you'll notice is that the 2-meter temperature here, you'll notice that, again, here's the warm air advection. So your warmest air is going to be immediately confined to this region, but that puts this area still in kind of this rain-snow mix. Now, higher up in the higher elevations, you're going to have temperatures that are in less than 30 degrees, so you will have snow. But you'll notice is that as we progress through tonight, this is by 3Z, this is 10 p.m. Going into tonight, what we'll notice is that we start to end up actually with a cooler air mass that starts to dive in here. And this is where you're going to get your highest transition of rain and snow. Now, if we actually look here at the HWRF model, or the HRRR model rather, we notice that the snowfall amounts for this time are going to be well over 10 inches, especially in the mountain regions. So definitely a wide swath of snow across the cold sector. And this is what's going to be happening today. Again, you already notice that the transition has occurred. And if we go even further up here, if we actually scoot this further northward, what you'll notice is that this is into now Portland, Maine. And you'll notice that there is already a lot of snow being reported all the way up across here. You can actually see some of those things there recording a light snow and mist here closer up in towards northern parts of Maine there. Temperature at 35 degrees, so you're not going to get a lot of sticking snow at the moment. But further south again, like towards Boston, the Boston area is reporting a temperature of 45 degrees. So you'll notice that we have a 45-degree temperature here. If you go up north here, you just go up there towards Finchburg, you have a temperature of 35 degrees. And that is, if we can measure that to the Boston area, that is roughly only about 51 miles. So in a 51-mile range, there is a fairly significant temperature spread from 45 at Boston to near 32 freezing at Finchburg. So this definitely suggests that there's a very tight gradient here. And as this low begins to skirt northward, this eventually will start to transition into more of a rain-snow mix, and then probably over to all snow. But the farther south you get, especially out over here towards Taunton, as you get towards Plymouth, if you get towards Plymouth, you're not going to have a large amount of snow. This area will probably not see a lot of snow. The greatest snow concentration will be north of Boston. However, this will promote at least some flurries, maybe some light accumulation, 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches. out across that region. You can already see some 3-inch reports being reported, especially up in these heavier bands. And all this heavy rain right here, you can see this very heavy rain. If we actually turn on the precipitation type, this very heavy band here of precipitation will be moving northward, and this is going to cause a lot of very heavy snowfall with rates that could exceed over 3 inches in spots. So this is definitely something to kind of keep in mind. Right now, you're getting more of kind of this rain snow mix, maybe even some icing and sleet going on. And then up further northward, you're getting a more heavier concentration of all snow. But you can definitely see where that transition line is occurring already. So the transition line seems to be north of Boston. That will gradually sag south over the next couple of hours and transition gradually over to all snow. And I actually see a mesoscale discussion all the way up here. This is regarding heavy snow amounts that could exceed over 2 inches per hour. So something to kind of keep an eye on. Again, if you don't have to travel, stay off the roads. It's going to be a very winterish type of couple of hours here, and especially into tomorrow. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right. With that being said, hope you all have a great rest of your afternoon and evening. I will be doing a secondary update tonight regarding everything, so kind of keep an eye out in the sky for that. Elsewise, have a good rest of your afternoon and evening. Of course, I am Michael O'Malley. I'll talk to you guys again some more later this afternoon.